Hello, welcome to PME 803 Organizational Leadership. My name is Louis Lim and I'm going to be your professor in this course. I have 5 goals for the video. I'm going to give you a brief introduction of myself, then I'm going to go over the course outline, discuss the required textbooks, go over the assessment evaluation, and end off with some of the expectations that I have of you. So I've been an educator for 25 years. I'm currently a secondary vice principal of the York Region District School Board, which is located about 45 minutes north of Toronto. I've been associated with Queen's University since 1997 when I began my Master of Education program as a part-time student. And back in those days, they did not have online learning. So it was a long journey to complete that. And in 2001, I began to teach additional qualification courses for the university. 2 summers ago, I was appointed an adjunct assistant professor with Queen's, and I've taught the PME 803 courses, which you're taking now, 2 summers ago, as well as last fall. I've also been appointed an assistant professor with limited duties at Western University, and this past summer, I taught an educational leadership course to principals, vice principals, and aspiring leaders as well. To go over the course outline, it's a compulsory course, and the course it's a lot of work. I'm going to be very honest with you. From feedback I've received from past students, it is a heavier workload than other courses, but the students say it's a lot of fun and very rewarding. We're going to be looking at leadership approaches. We're going to be learning about them in isolation. And then my expectation of you is that you will start to see connections between the leadership approaches. And because this is a professional Master of Education program, the expectation is of you to look at the theory and research and what can you take from that and apply it to professional practice. I do believe that each and every one of you is a leader in your organization, and because of that, you are impacting other people. For example, as a teacher, you have impact on your students. You are a leader in that classroom. You are a leader in your department, working with colleagues, on committee work. Right? So this course is looking at developing and strengthening your leadership abilities, taking the research and applying it into professional practice. We're going to use the definition of leadership based on the Northhouse textbook, which is one of the required textbooks. Leadership is very difficult to define and it's a contested area, but what Northhouse does talk about is leadership is a process. So we're going to look at leadership being complex, that it can be developed. It is not something that people are born with. We're going to be talking about leadership in terms of influence in terms of making impact, whether it's positive or negative, on other people. It's a group of people that you're influencing. So to be a leader, you have to have followers. And the followers need to have a common goal with you. There needs to be a common goal, or else it's not leadership. Okay. I'm going to ask you to maintain a journal, and this is for your eyes only, in order to document reflective thoughts and questions that you have during the course, because it's going to pay dividends in terms of the assignments that you do. We're also going to examine the social construction of a leader, and we're also going to understand leadership behaviors in an organization. So in terms of the course textbooks, there are 2 required textbooks. One is the Northhouse textbook, and we want the 8th edition, and it was published in 2019. It is a pricey book. It's retailing at $115 on Amazon.ca with a 52% discount. So right now it's about $50, and I encourage you to get it at Amazon.ca at a discounted price. There are also other ways of obtaining the textbook, whether electronically as well. It's in the course outline. And there's another textbook that you're going to have to purchase, and it's called Into Thin Air. It's a paperback, and it's looking at the tragedy of Mount Everest. And in one of the assignments that I'll discuss, you're going to be looking at it through the lens of leadership. Depending on where you are in the program, I do encourage you to get a hold of the APA style manual. And if you are looking at going into doctoral studies, then I think you really need to have that APA manual as well. If you're graduating very soon in the program, then you don't need that. I wouldn't suggest that you purchase this. It's about $40 as well. Okay. So in terms of assessment and evaluation, there are 4 assignments in the course. Number 1 is going to be discussion posts and discussion participation. and that's going to be worth 30% of your mark. So there's 6 modules in the course. Each of them will be worth 5. And I'm looking at quality over the quantity. I'm asking you to think, to post thoughtful posts, be clear and concise as well, and also push and challenge each other as well, based on your understanding of the course learning material. 10% of the mark is going to be based on the Into Thin Air book that you're going to read, and you're going to read it through the lens of leadership. And there is a marking scheme, and that I really encourage you to follow. And it lists out the success criteria. It's in the course outline, and you're going to look at the 4 questions that I'm after. For example, give examples of strong leadership. Give examples of weak leadership. Give examples of cultural leadership as well. Okay. 20% of your mark is going to be based on a structured reading number 2 assignment that's going to ask you to select a book on leadership of your choice, and I will approve it to make sure that it's appropriate for the course. And you're going to write an executive brief on it, and you're going to follow again the marking scheme that's provided. And I list it very clear. The success criteria is listed in the course outline, so please follow that. And 40% of your mark is going to be based on a final course paper, where you're really taking the learning and bringing it all into full circle, identifying a challenge, a problem, an incident that you have been directly involved in, and analyzing it through the leadership approaches that we have learned in our course. And then also making recommendations about how the challenge or incident or problem could have had a different outcome as well. Okay, so my expectations of you, really briefly, is I expect you to work hard. It is a graduate course, and I expect you to learn a lot. And if you take the course very seriously, you will come away with a lot of learning and applying it into your professional practices to be a more effective leader than you are right now, which benefits other people. My expectations of you is that you will communicate with me regularly. If there are questions, if you have concerns, if you're not able to meet a deadline, you communicate with me. My expectations of you also include learning how to write academically, being clear, concise, and succinct. Using APA style accurately is also another emphasis that I will have. Your expectations of me is I am going to be working very hard for you as well. I'll be checking email. I'll be on the course website regularly. My goal is to be on there every day and supporting you on this journey, that you are not alone as you're online, that I am very, very committed to each of your successes. And my expectation is that the class median at the end will be low 90s. It has been in the other 3 graduate courses I've taught, and I have high expectations of you, and feedback from past participants is that they do deliver, they do reach my expectations of you. And my hope is that some of you will consider pursuing a graduate degree, doctoral studies, and continue on in your academic and educational journey as well. So I'll leave it right there. If you have any questions, please email me. You have it in the course outline, and we can continue discussion there. Okay, so my very, very best to each and every one of you during the next 10 weeks. All right.